Number 1. As Gemma is running down the street to catch a bus, she sees it drive off in the distance. The time now is 10:18. She will have to wait another hour and 54 minutes till the next bus comes. What time will the next bus arrive? Write your answer in 12-hour clock. So we've got the time that she sees the bus. We know she has to wait for this length of time, and we need to make sure it's in 12-hour clock. So we'll do our timeline, and we've got 10:18. Now we add on the hours first, so we'll add on 1 hour to the 10:18, which takes us to 11:18. Then we need to add on the 54 minutes. So here, what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to add on another hour, which takes me to 12:18. But I didn't need to add on an hour. I needed to add on 54 minutes. So I've added on an extra 6 minutes. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to minus 6 minutes here to get to what it would have been if I had added 54 minutes. So 12:18 minus the 6 minutes, it takes me to 12:12. And this is our answer. However, we need to make sure that we put it in 12-hour clock. So 10:18, that's in AM, but it goes to 12, which has now become PM. So this would be 12:12 PM. Number 2, look at the equation below. 92 times 64 equals 5,888. Use the equation above to answer the questions below. So here we've got 9.2 times 6.4, which is similar to the 92 times 64. So what we're in fact going to do is, what have we done to these numbers to turn them into the other number? So what have we done to 92 to turn it into 9.2? We've actually divided by 10. And to turn 64 into 6.4, we've divided it by 10 again. So the answer, what will happen is, we will have our answer. The numbers will stay the same, but we need to then divide the answer by 10 and then divide it by 10 again. So the decimal point would be here. So if we put it over here, and it'll move up 1 place because we divide it by 10, and then it moves up 2 places because we need to divide it by 10 again. So the decimal point would be in between the 2 8s in the middle. So the answer would be 58.88. And very similar to this question, what have we done to the answer here to turn it into 588.8? We've actually divided it by 10. And then to turn 92 into 9.2, we've divided it by 10. Now, if you know the difference between multiplication, basically whatever you do to one side will happen to the other side. But with this, it will happen to the answer. But with this, what happens with the division? If the same is done to both sides, the answer will actually just stay exactly the same. So this will be 64. So just to show you what I mean, if I had, let's do 300 divided by 60, that would give us 5. And then if we divided this by 10 and divided this by 10, and then did 30 divided by 6, it would still give us the same answer. So if whatever happened to both sides of the division question, it gives you the same answer if it's the same thing. Number 3, Michael uses a simple rule to write a sequence of numbers. His first 3 numbers are written below. Calculate the next 2 numbers in Michael's sequence and then write them in the space provided. So you could look at this one of 2 ways. So there is actually 2 answers. So the first one you could look at, you go, right, between 1 and 2, we're adding 2. And then between 3 and 9, we're adding 6. So it could be that we're adding on 4 to add on each time. So this one, 2, 6, and then add another 4 will be add 10. So this could be 19. And then we would add 14 onto this. So if I do 19 added to 14, that would give me 33. Okay, so that could be one of the answers. Now what you could also think as well here is potentially what's happening between 1 and 3. It's timesing by 3. And then between 3 and 9, it's timesing by 3 again. So this could then be also, if we put 2 numbers above this, this could be 9 times 3 again, which could be 27. And then 27 times 3, which is 81. So if you've got the answer 27 and 81, that would be fine. And if you've got the answer 9 and 33, that would also be fine as well. Number 4, a passenger on a flight leaves Belfast and the temperature is -9 degrees Celsius. When the passenger lands in Australia, it's 27 degrees warmer than in Belfast. What is the temperature in Australia on the passenger's arrival? So we've got our temperature of -9 degrees in Belfast, and we need to get to the temperature in Australia, which is 27 degrees warmer. So what we do is we put our -9 and then we put 0 degrees. Now what do we do to -9, or what do we add on to -9 to make 0? We add 9. So how many more do we still need to add on? We've added 9, so if we do 27 minus 9, that'll tell us how many more we still need to add on so that we've increased the temperature by 27. So 7 take away 9 we cannot do, we need to borrow. So 17 take away 9 is 8, and then 1 take away nothing is 1. So we've added 9 here, so we still need to add another 18 degrees. So in total, we've added the 27 degrees, which is the difference that we needed. So if we add 18 onto 0, we get 18 degrees, and that will be the temperature in Australia. Number 5, Adam is delivering bread. He delivers 123 of the loaves of bread, which is 3/5 of the full batch, to the local shops. How many loaves of bread are in the whole batch? So we know that he delivers 3/5 of it, but we need to work out what 5/5 of it, or what the whole batch is. So in this instance, what we'll do is we'll write 3/5 equals 123. Now we are working backwards here. So normally what we do to work out a fraction of a number is we divide by the bottom times by the top, but we need to work backwards to find out what the whole original amount was. So we do the opposite to what we've done. So instead of dividing by the bottom and times by the top, we divide by the top and times by the bottom. And what basically this does, whenever we do 123 divided by 3, which is our top number, that gives us 41. And now what we've done is we've worked out what 1/5 is equal to. Because we've got 3/5, we divide it by 3, it gives us 1/5. So 1/5 is equal to 41. But we need the whole original batch, which is 5/5, which is then why we times by the bottom. So we're going to do 41 times by 5. 5 ones are 5, 5 fours are 20, and that would give us our answer of what the whole batch is. So 205 is what 5/5, or the whole batch, is equal to. So it'll be 205. Number 6, look at the isosceles triangle below. What is the value of x? As soon as you see an isosceles triangle, or any triangle, you should have in your head it's going to be 180 degrees for the 3 angles. Now, with an isosceles triangle, 2 of the sides are the same length and 2 of the angles are the same size. So these 2 bottom angles are going to be the same. So these x's are worth the same. So what we need to do is we need to take away the 26 away from 180, which will leave us with what both of these angles are equal to. So 180 take away our 26. So we need to do 0 take away 6, we can't do, we need to borrow. 10 take away 6 is our 4, 7 take away 2 is our 5, and then 1 take away nothing is 1. So both of these angles are 150 to 54, but we need to find out what one of the angles is. So we need to divide that by 2. We need to share this equally between the 2 angles, basically. So 2 into 1 doesn't go. Carry 1, 2 into 15 goes 7 times. Carry the 1, 2 into 14 goes 7 times again. So each of these angles will be 77 degrees, which is the value of x. Number 7, look at the shape below. What is the area of the shape? Write your answer in the space below. So whenever we're doing area, it's always good to write on all the sides we don't know. So this will be 9, this is the same length, this will be 9, this is 1 centimeter, which means this will be 1 centimeter, and we need to know the distance from here to here. Now all the lines that are horizontal, this line, and this line, and this line are all connected. So basically these 3 lines here are the same length as this one. So far we've got 2 and 1, which is 3. And then if we take that away from the 9, it leaves us with what is left over. So we know this is 6 centimeters. Now there's 2 ways to do this. You could split this into 3 parts and work out the area of the 3 parts and add them together. For this one, if the peaks are the same height, what's actually easier to do is to connect it and make it one complete shape. So we're going to do 9 times 9, which will give us the area of the whole shape. So 9 nines are 81, so it's a square. So the whole area of all of it is 81 centimeter squares. And then we work out the area of this part, because we don't need it and we can take it away, which is just simply 1 times 6. So the area of this part is 6 centimeter squares. So we'll put that in, 6 centimeter squares, but we don't need this part because it's not part of the original shape, so we're going to take that away. So 1 take away 6 we cannot do, borrow. 11 take away 6 is our 5, and then 7 take away nothing is our 7. So the area of this shape, not including this bit here, would be 75 centimeter squares. Now the second part says, look again at the shape above. What is the perimeter? So we're just basically adding all the sides, and that's why it's good as well to put on all the sides that you don't know. I always find the best way to do this is put a little star or something and work your way around the shape so that you know where to stop, and you definitely add all the sides together. So we've got 9, added to 9 is 18, added to 2 gives me 20, and then 1 is 21, 6 is 27, 1 is 28, another 1 is 29, and then another 9 gives me 38. Okay, so if you need to put them together whatever way, but make sure you add together all the sides, and that will give you the perimeter. So we've got our first poem, Echo. I think it's always good to read the poem, because there's always questions that talk about people's feelings or the mood of the poem, and if you don't read the poem, then you won't have an idea of this. So, Echo. Echo that loved, hid within a wood, would to herself rehearse her weary woe. Oh, she cried, and all the rest unsaid, identical came back in sorry echo. Echo for the fix that she was in, invisible, distraught by mocking passion, passionate, ignored, as good as dumb, employed, that ode unchanged in repetition. Shun love if you suspect that he shuns you. Use with him no reproaches whatsoever. Ever you're new, supposing him to know no melody from which you might recover. Cover your ears, dear echo, do not hear. Here is no supplication but your own. Only your sighs return upon the air. Ere their music from the mouth be gone. And that's by Darrell Hine. So we need to look at obviously the questions that relate to the poem. So now we've got number 1. Look at verse 1 and 2 of the poem. Above, find the word that is closest in meaning to practice. Now if we look at verse 1 and 2, the word that we're actually looking for practice is rehearse. So it gives you a bit of an indication of where you need to look with most of these questions. And this one here, synonym basically is rehearse. So number 9, the adjective distraught in line 6 means, does distraught mean to be happy, distressed, curious or excited? Now if you know what different words mean, distraught is something, it's not very good. Distraught is basically you're absolutely devastated. So in this instance, it's definitely not that you're happy or curious or excited, it's that you're distressed. And if we look at line 6, so line 6 is this one here, invisible, distraught by mocking passion. So he's getting mocked and he's not very happy, he's a bit distressed about it. It's our echo. So number 11, look at the third verse of the poem. Find the verb which means reject. So we need to find the third verse and look for a word that basically means reject. So verse 1, 2, 3, shun love if you suspect that he shuns you. So this is where you can see if it replaces it. So does reject actually work if we replace it with shun? Reject love if you suspect that he rejects you, and it does work. So shun is actually the word that we're looking for here. So shun. Now this is one of those where you don't actually need to look at the poem. Write the plural of each of the words below in the space provided. Be careful with your spelling. So these are typical of what comes up. So 1 fungus, 2 fungi. So this is the way I say it. I say 1 and then I say 2 literally into my head, and the sentence will come out with the correct plural. So 1 man, 2 men. So 1 deer, 2 deer. So it just stays the same. And then 1 foot, 2 feet. And these would be your plurals. Number 13, look at verse 1. Find the word which is the past tense of hide. Write your answer in the space below. You could probably do this without actually even looking. But if we look at verse 1, so today I hide, and then the past tense is yesterday I hid. Okay? So that's another little tick. Whenever I'm doing singular plural, say 1 fungus, 2 fungi. And with past and present tense, I'll say Today I hide, yesterday I hid, and it gives you a little bit of an indication of what the past tense will be. Number 14. Based on your understanding of the above poem, tick the most appropriate statement. The echo is sad, happy, or surprised. Now, as you've read through, hopefully you had an idea of what was going on and you understand that he isn't very happy. It talks a lot about the woe, weary woe. He's distraught. There's people mocking him, all those types of things. So basically, he isn't very happy at all. And if we look here, is he happy? Sorry, or surprised? It's actually that he's sad, and that would be the correct answer. Number 15, write the words below in alphabetical order. So what we've got is we need to look for the letters starting with A. If you need to put the alphabet down and write it to make sure, do that, because then it'll make sure you get these marks, because this is always a 2-mark question as well. And it's easy marks, so to speak. So our first one would be sailing, because it's got the SA. Then our next one would be scaling, ABC, scaling. Then we would have sending, because it's SENDING, and then the sewing, because it's SEWING. And again, don't lose out in the marks, because that would be an easy 2 marks picked up. So back to Maz, number 16. In a sale, items are reduced by 25%. Use this information to complete the table below. So we've got our old price. So here it's £84. It's reduced by 25%. It gives us £63. So it's important to write up here that the old price is 100%. And if it's reduced by 25%, that means the new price is 75% of the old price. Now, if we've got £120, now we should know that 25% is the same as a quarter. So if we find a quarter and take it away, that'll give us the reduction of 25%. So 1 quarter, what we're doing is we're dividing by 4. So we divide 120 by 4, which gives us 30. And then it's been reduced by this. So we need to take that away from the 120. So the 120 minus the 30 gives us our 90. So the new price here would be £90. Don't fall into the habit of writing the quarter, which would be £30. Now, this is where it gets a little bit trickier. What you've got to remember is you need to go back and we need to find the original price. So 3 quarters or 75% is the same as 3 quarters. So this £39 is actually equal to 3 quarters of the original price. So 75% is 3 quarters. So 3 quarters equals £39. Now, if you remember from the previous question, we do the opposite if we want to get the original price. So we're not dividing by the bottom and timesing by the top. We're actually dividing by the top and timesing by the bottom. Because whenever we divide by the top, that'll give us what 1 quarter is. We're basically doing 3 quarters divided by 3, which gives us 1 quarter. So we'll do 39 divided by 3, which is 13. So we know 1 quarter is £13. And then we times it by the bottom because we need 4 quarters. So we'll do our 13 times by 4. 4 threes are 12. Carry your 1. 4 ones are 4. Add the 1 is 5. So 4 quarters equals 52, which is the whole original price. 17. A TV program lasts 0.75 hours. How many seconds is this? Write your answer in the space below. So 0.75 hours. This is as a decimal. As a percentage, it's 75%. As a fraction, it is 3 quarters. So this is basically 3 quarters of an hour. So we know that there's 60 minutes an hour. So 3 quarters of an hour equals 45 minutes. But we need the answer in seconds. So 45 minutes. We know that in 1 minute, it equals 60 seconds. So in 45 minutes, we need to times this by 60. So we'll just drop the 0 straight away. And then 6 times 5 gives us 30. Then 6 times 4 gives us 24. Add the 3 gives us 27. So this is how many seconds it would be. 45 minutes in seconds, 2,700 seconds. Number 18. John notices that 24 equals 5 plus 19. And that 5 plus 19 are both prime numbers. So 5 and 19 are both prime numbers. Find 2 other prime numbers that add to give us 24. Easiest way to do this is just start writing out your prime numbers. So 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, 13, 17, 19, 23. I'm going to stop there because we're pretty close to 24. So the two numbers he's used 5 and 19 that equal 24. So we need to find two other of these numbers basically that add to make 24. And if you look, the answer will be 7 added to 17. So 7 add 17 equals our 24. So these are the other two numbers that add together to make the 24. So 7 and 17. Doesn't matter which way around you have these. So number 19, look at the pie chart below that shows the amount of points scored by each person on the swimming team. So we've got Connor, Sarah, Isaac and Leah, and they take up part of the pie. So Leah's 45 degrees, Sarah's 10 degrees, and we don't know what Isaac and Connor are. Now the first thing to always think is the whole pie in degrees is going to be worth 360 degrees. It's a full circle, full turn. So if we look at the question, around the center of the pie chart there are two missing angles. Fill in the missing angles. So if we look here with Isaac, basically this here angle here is 90 degrees. So Sarah plus Isaac is going to be 90 degrees. So if we take 10 away from 90, that leaves us with 80 degrees, which is what Isaac would be. Now, we know the three angles here. So we know Sarah's 10, we know Isaac's 90, and we know Leah's 45. So we can add these three together and take it away from 360, which is the full pie, which will leave us with Connor. So we'll do that over here. So we'll do Sarah and Isaac will be 90 degrees, and then Leah's 45 degrees. So the total of all of these angles will be 135 degrees. And then if we minus that from 360, that'll leave us with what Connor has. So 0 take away 5 we cannot do. 10 take away 5 is 5. 5 take away 3 is 2. And then 3 take away 1 is 2. So Connor is 225 degrees. So these would be the two missing angles. Now, number 20. Look at the pie chart above. Leah scored 6 points in total. How many points did Connor score for the team? So we've got Leah here. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to write 45 degrees equals 6 points. Okay, and we know the angle that Connor has. This is going to be a ratio question. He's got 225 degrees, and we need to see what have we done to 45 to turn it into 225. So basically we're doing 45 and see how many times it fits into 25 to see what we've timesed it by. So we need to know our 45 times tables, and most of you should have a good idea of what they are. So we'll do 45, 90, 135, 180, and then 225. So it's actually 45 has been times by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this has been times by 5, which means because it's ratio, whatever happens to this side, we must do to the other side. So we're going to times that by 5. So 6 5s are 30, which is what the score will be, how many points Connor will have scored. So we can pop that in now. So Connor will score 30 points. Number 21, look at the calculation below. Complete the calculation by writing the numbers in the gaps to make it correct. So we've got 3 missing gaps here, 1, 2, 3. And it's a subtraction, which is really important to remember. And then we need to figure out what numbers would go in here to make this correct. So straight away we're looking at this and we're doing 3 take away 4 has to equal something. And hopefully we'll all know that if this number here is smaller, then we need to basically borrow from the number beside. So in this instance, we'll always still start from this side. We cannot be 3 take away 4, so we're going to have to pretend we've borrowed from here. So 13 take away 4 would leave you with 9. So we know the first number is going to be 9. Now, this is where it gets a little bit tricky. Because if we put something in here, so something take away 1 is equal 2, and we'd say put in a 3 here. 3 take away 1 definitely is 2. But we need to remember we've borrowed 1 to lend to the 3 so he could take away. So it's actually going to need to be 1 more than the 3. Because if we put the 4 in here, effectively what has happened without us realising is we borrowed 1 from the 4 and it became a 3. So it's 3 take away 1 is 2. But the original number would have to be a 4. Okay? Because you borrow from that. So this number here would be a 4. And then the last one's dead easy. 4 take away something is 3. And then you just do the inverse. 4 take away 3 would leave you with, 7 take away 3 would leave you with 4. And these would be your 3 numbers. Okay? Just be wary of that. With the second number, if you borrowed, then you're getting the right original number in. Number 22, look at the bar chart below. It shows how many packets of crisps Jen eats over a week. So you've got her crisps eaten, the number of packets, and we've got questions that relate to it. How many packets of crisps did she eat in total over the 5-day period? Write your answer in the space below. When you've got a bar chart, write in what each of these is worth at the top, because it could be useful after as well. So this here, Monday, she eats 3 because it's in between the 2 and the 4. Thursday, she eats 5, which is in between the 4 and the 6. Wednesday, we've got 12. Thursday, we've got 11. And Friday, we've got 9. Then we just need to add them up. So 11 add 9 gives us 20. Then 12 add 5 gives us 17. Add 3 would be another 20. So it's just basically 20 add 20, which is 40. So fairly straightforward, that one. This is where it gets a little trickier. On one of the days, Jen eats 3/4 of the amount of packets of crisps than that of another day. Write your answers in the spaces below to make this sentence correct. So we need to put in some days here that will make the sentence correct. So the number of packets of crisps eaten on such and such a day was 3/4 of the amount of packets of crisps eaten on another day. So what you basically do is we need to basically find 3/4 of all these numbers and see if it matches up with another one. Now, if it's 3/4, the number that's going to be 3/4 has to be divisible by 4. So 3 isn't divisible by 4, so it's not going to be that day. 5 isn't divisible by 4, so it's not going to be that day. 12 is divisible by 4. So if we find 3/4 of 12, we divide by the bottom number and times by the top. So 12 divided by 4 is 3, and then 3 times 3 equals 9. And does one of the other days match up with 3/4? Yes, it does. It's 9. So we've got our 2 days. We've got the Wednesday and the Friday. And then we need to make sure that we put the correct day in the correct place in the statement. So it says the number of packets of crisps eaten on, and this would have to be Friday. Okay, so the number of packets of crisps on Friday, which is 9, was 3/4 of the amount of the packets of crisps eaten on Wednesday. Okay, so that's basically how you would do that. Find 3/4 of all the numbers, see which one it matches up with, and then make sure it goes in the correct day. It normally is the smaller number that goes first in this instance. Now, 5 mistakes text. The passage you're about to read contains 5 errors. Read the passage and then answer the questions that follow it. So we've got recycling. So 2 ways to do this. Some people like to read through this and then they like to go back and find it. A lot of kids like just to look at the lines and then go back to the text. If it's looking for a question, always read question or a comma, always read the sentence before and after the line as well, because it might incorporate the sentence before and after as well. I like to read it, but it's up to yourselves. Recycling is important in today's world if we want to leave this planet for our future generations. It is good for the environment since we are making new products from the old products which are of no use to us. Recycling begins at home. If you're not throwing away any of your old product and instead utilizing it for something new, then you're actually recycling. When you think of recycling, you should really think about the whole idea. Reduce, reuse and recycle. We've been careless up to this point with the way we've treated the earth, and it's time to change. Not just the way we do things, but the way we think. Recycling is good for the environment in the sense we are using old and waste products which are of no use and then converting them back to some new products. Since we are saving resources and are spending less trash to the sending less trash to the landfills, it helps in reducing air and water pollution. Do you want to reduce pollution? Energy saving is important if we're to reduce the future effects of global warming. If we recycle one aluminium can, we are able to save enough energy to run a TV for around 3 hours. This will obviously depend on the energy consumption of your TV, but it gives you a great idea as to just how much energy can be saved during the process of recycling. So after you've read it, or if you haven't read it and you've gone straight to the questions, a little tip right off the bat. It says here, each line of the passage is numbered. A word has been used incorrectly in the passage. As soon as it said a word has been used incorrectly, you are looking for a homophone. A homophone is simply a word that sounds the same as another word but means something different. For example, their car, or we're going over there, let me think, no, and homophones basically is what you're looking for. And another little tip, The majority of the questions, the answers are one of the two last numbers from the line. So instead of looking at line 1 first and working your way down, what is easier and quicker is actually if you use the last line and work your way up, because the majority of the questions are these last two. And the reason that is because the people who make these tests, they want the people to read through all of them and then get to the end, as opposed to finding the first answer very quickly. So if you go from bottom to top, you should find the answers a bit quicker. It might save you a minute or two. So we're looking for a homophone, and we're going to start with line 20. And as we go through, great idea as to just how much energy can be saved during the... So there's nothing in there, so we can forget about that. Line 13, converting them back to some new products. And this is our homophone, because this should actually just be new. Okay, so our answer there would be line 13. Now, if we look at the second sort of page on this, another little tip is what you should do is memorize these 4 numbers and write them on the previous page to stop you having to flick forward and back between the different pages. So I'm looking for a spelling error, and it's 2, 6, 11, 19. So I'm going to write that up here. I'm going to write 2, 6, 11, and then, I forgot what it was, and 19. And then I'm going to put SP for spelling. So again, I'm going to start from the bottom and work my way up. So I'm just going to start at 19. Depend on the energy consumption of your TV, but it gives you out. So our 19 is fine. And then we'll look at 11. Recycling is good for the environment. Now, environment is spelt wrong. This should be environ. It needs the N in there. And that's the way I always remember environment, because it's got a ron in the middle. So our answer for that one is 11. Okay, and again, working your way from the bottom up has saved us that little bit of time. Now 26, we're looking for a question mark. As soon as we see question mark, and then 4, 7, 15, 18. 4, 7, 15, 18. 4, 7, 15, 18. Now we're going to find question mark starting with line 18. And if we look here, remember with this, read the line before. If we are recycling 1 aluminium can, we are able to save enough energy to run a TV for around 3 hours. This is obviously, it's not line 18. So let's look at 15. So we'll look at the bit before. So it helps in reducing air and water pollution. Do you want to reduce pollution? Question mark. Do you want to? It is line 15 that is going to be the answer. So we'll take that one. And then we're looking here. A comma is missing. So a comma is always things in a list. So if you're thinking that, then thinking things in a list like your shopping list. I went and bought a bag of sugar, flour, and the comma goes between the things in the list. So we've got comma in the list. So 3, 7, 10, 17. 3, 7, 10, 17. So 3, 7, 10, 17. Again, start from the bottom and work your way up. So we'll start with 17. If we are, and again with commas, look at the line before and after. So if we're just in the effects of go over, if we recycle 1 can, we're able to save, nope, there's nothing in there. 17, so let's look at 10. 10, not just things we do, but the way we think. Nope, 10 is fine, so we're going up to 7. When you think of the recycling, you should really think about the whole idea. Reduce, and then our comma would have to go there. Reduce, reuse, recycle. Okay, that there is things in our list. So we've got that, which is line 7. And then finally, 28. There's an apostrophe missing. So we're looking for an apostrophe, which is for a contraction or possession, ownership. So we've got 5, 9, 14, 16. 5, 9, 14, 16. I'll put it here. 5, 9, 14, 16. And we'll start from the bottom and work our way up. So 16. So saving is important if we're to reduce the future effects of global, and this is a sneaky one because it is actually here. If you think about it, this should actually say if we are. So the A has been taken out and replaced by an apostrophe. So the answer there will be line 16. And then we've 2 more that relate to that text as well. So based on your understanding of the passage, circle the most appropriate word to complete the sentence. Recycling will help to control, save, or use energy in the future. It's not really control. It talks a lot about saving energy. Okay, so the answer there would be save. And then the final question, the verb consumption is used in line 19. Which of the following is not a synonym of consumption? So consumption means to take something in. So in this instance, drinking. is a synonym of consumption, so it's not going to be that one. And then increasing is the answer here, because increasing is the opposite to consuming. Increasing means to get bigger, consuming means to reduce or to take in. So expenditure is a synonym of consumption, and the answer would be increasing.